My overarching theme was to create a course in which students would become better consumers, more aware of the toxic hazards which are around them, and to be able to communicate them to people who might have absolutely no scientific background, and to educate others, not just themselves. The end goal was to have a video which was high quality and that they could be educating a particular group of people on a chemical of interest which they were going to choose. And so then I had to figure out, in order to create this video, what do we need to teach them? And that's why I worked very closely with Nancy and Raven to help me decide what skills. We put the skills into the course, and then I designed the content of the course around that. So really I had the projects, the main backbone, and I used the content to then feed into that aspect to help to support it. And I wanted them to do it in a collaborative environment because there is going to be no place for the rest of their lives where they're going to be pretty much working on their own. So they needed to learn how to work with other people.
It begins with the war-born development of DDT. This diabolical weapon of modern science saved millions of humans, but killed billions of insects. Man, with this newly discovered force, has at long last gained the upper hand in our age-old struggle.
DDT is a pesticide. It was actually one of the first insecticides that was sprayed. It was developed specifically to combat insects in crop or agricultural areas.
Fertilizer and pesticides, anything that's soluble in water is going to end up in the groundwater, and that groundwater is going to end up in the rivers.
The videos were definitely like a creative outlet for what we were talking about in class, especially when it came to like the more scientific side of it, because you got to see your understanding of that science actually be applied to a real life situation. And that's pretty cool, especially as a first year student, to like know that you understand something enough to present it to someone else. Different people learn differently, and so maybe if I'm a visual learner, a video is going to be the best way to translate the ideas that I have in my head.
I think watching other people's projects was constructive because it gave me different ideas and perspectives of how to make my future videos. So it allowed me to see how other people use transitions and titles and B-roll in their videos.
The first thing that we did before we started a video was, who's your audience? What do you want to convey? And once you have those as the backdrop, I think we just drove that through the entire video.
I did learn that I usually like to take the role of leader in group projects, and I think sometimes it's also important to recognize other people as co-leaders so that not one person is doing the entire thing on his own.
Group work in college is a lot different than it is in high school, which is a good thing because people want to do the work.
In my opinion, the point and the objective of a group project is to merge different ideas together to create a more varied product. I noticed that David and I worked really well together, and where I could compile the videos and edit it, he could give me ideas, and we could work back and forth on what to do. He's an economics major and finance, whereas I'm a biology and chemistry major, so we kind of had different thoughts patterns merging together.
I enjoyed the groups that I worked with. Sometimes we got to pick, sometimes not, but every time everyone was devoted to the topic and devoted to trying to make the best movie. It almost turned into a competition at the end there when we got a little bit more knowledgeable on what we were doing, which was fun for us. I think we were able to translate our ideas using things that we learned and almost show up the other groups or put in something that we thought was super cool and was going to stand out from the other groups, which was fun.